My name is George Polecat Jr., and I grew up in Bell Community. There was 8 of us. I guess that's a pretty good sized family. 8 of us, and it was the house that we lived in. It was the coal house. When it snowed outside, it snowed inside. When it rained outside, it rained inside. Yeah, but we made it. It was really my job to get water in the house and bring in the wood also for heating and for to cook with. We played ball. Of course, my mother, she'd make a ball with socks and just thread it up real good, and that's what we had to play with, ball. And then summertime was swimming and fishing. When we moved into this house, we used to have a place just right there on the side, pretty good size ground there, smooth, where we played marbles. And there'd be a bunch of men would come in, even older men and younger ones, and we would play marbles all day. And they'd gather around weekends, starting on Friday evening. We'd play all day Saturday, play all day Sunday, and then Sunday evening, when it got kind of dark, then different ones just went their way, and then we started again next Friday.
My name is Frances Van Polecat, and I grew up in the Zion community. There were 10 of us, 6 girls and 4 boys. When my mama would have some corn or something, we'd make dolls out of the corn shucks and the silky stuff that comes on the corn, and we'd make us dolls, and my mama would make us paper dolls just out of cracker boxes or something. And she'd draw on there, and so we'd make clothes for them, and just whatever we could find to do to entertain ourselves. And since being the oldest, I had to do most everything, so I tried to help my mama. We moved to behind my grandpa's, about 3 miles out of Stillwell. My daddy built us a cedar log house, and then later on they added on rooms to it. The more children, the more bedrooms we had.
How old were y'all when you met, and where was it?
How old were you?
I was 15. I was in 9th grade when I first saw him. He was in 11th grade.
When I first saw her, I was just playing hooky, and drove around with other boys, and then we passed Zion School. I looked over there in the room, and I seen her sitting over there. And my thought then, that's mine.
He didn't have a car, so we always had to go with his friend. And one of the friends that he had, we always had flats. We didn't get too far. We went with our other friends, my aunt and her boyfriend, then we'd go around town or different places.
They had some good teachers, really. Then they really took time with the children, those that wanted to learn. And if they were like me, they didn't want to learn. They wanted to stay out there in the sticks, go to school, go through the door, go out the back, and head for the woods. We spoke Cherokee. I got a few spankings, I guess, for not really trying.
English was spoken in our home, but not mostly Cherokee. But I had my mama's uncle and my grandma and different ones. They spoke English, so I had already picked it up pretty good when I started going to school.
Eating the things that we've ate, they think I wouldn't eat those things, but
Like
back,
what? Come tell me.
well, just like rabbits, squirrels, chipmunks, birds, yeah. And I know some of them eat groundhogs, some eat possum and coon, but those things, when you don't have it and you're hungry, I feel like anybody can eat just about anything. Flour or what they call sawmill gravy,
Can you tell me what's sawmill gravy?
made with cornmeal. And then there was times they made that tomato gravy. There's a fish soup that she used to make. And really, I really don't know how she done that, but she used to make fish soup, and also she used to use those canned fish and even make soup out of that also. You ate that with crackers or cornbread.
A lot of times, most of the families had the same thing, but it was just the way your mom cooked it, I guess, was special to you.
What was the favorite food that y'all used to eat?
Brown beans.
Beans. Beans, fried potatoes.
That's still the favorite around here. We used rocks, some of them. Yeah, and some of them they had guns. I remember me and my friends, we got together and went squirrel hunting. We didn't take no dogs. Yeah, we might have took a dog or two, but anyway, we went squirrel hunting. We came home with 21 squirrels and 2 rabbits with rocks. There were about 4 of us that was there that time. We'd surround the tree. The squirrel really didn't have no chance if we had the rocks. Yeah. And rabbit had a chance, but there was that one of those friends that I had, he was real good in hitting, throwing rocks, especially when something was on the move. And he was the one that got the rabbits, 2 of them. Yeah, those were the good times. First pair of shoes. It was work shoes, really. They had told me to take care of them. So your school shoes, and that's your work shoes. Yeah, but you can't take care of them if you gotta work in them. That's what I do.
Or my mama would always want me to get saddle Oxfords, they called them. They were more sturdy and last longer and everything, but I hated them. But I'd always want penny loafers. Usually my daddy would let me have the ones I wanted, but then most time I ended up with saddle Oxfords, but that was a treat. If me and my daddy had our way, I'd get penny loafers. But if the babies needed shoes, she'd measure their feet and use a string and measure their shoes or their feet. And she'd just take that to town, and that's how she knew what size to get. Or she'd draw their feet on a paper sack, the brown paper sacks. Well, it was a real treat. We got to go to town. When we lived towards rock fence area before we moved close to town, my daddy cut ties, and when he'd get enough to sell, then the white guy that lived down the hollow, he'd get his truck and he'd load it up for my dad, and then we'd go town and we'd ride on top of that, and we'd stay in town all day. You know, that was a real big treat for us then. And then later on, when my dad was working at the charcoal plant in Barron, and then we'd ride in with him Saturday morning. If we had to work Saturday, we'd ride into town with him, and we'd stay in town all day long, sit around in the shade or go to the movies. And then when he got off work, he'd come by, and then we'd go eat. And that was a treat. We'd get to go eat hamburgers, and then that night we'd go to the show again. So that was a real treat.
When the stepdad, when he got a check, he'd take us to town, and he'd say, let's go eat at a restaurant. They'd order I guess fried chicken and dressing and all the works. Then I'd be sitting there, why can't I get that? They'd say, you get a hamburger. Well, that was good enough, really. Burger and fries and Coke.
They always told us just to tell the truth and be honest in everything you do. And so we try to tell that to our children. So.
Me and my sister, she is 2 or 3 years older than me. When it come down to working or cutting wood, me and her, we were the ones to operate the saw, crosscut saw, and splitting wood and all those things. And those are some of the things I feel like a lot of our young folks are not familiar with, and that's work.